Back with the market right here on 18 AM, and after that 11K touch and go, we've conceded or receded from there, but hovering around 10,955 in the future, so no complaints as such. And the breadth as well, not by a huge margin, but continues to favour the advances. Idea, your big win today. There's HDFC Bank, Britannia seeing some solid earnings reactions, both those stocks holding up very well. Voltas, Chola Finance being your other movers as well. On the flip side, though, some red ticks coming in for pharma names. Glenmark, Sun Pharma, Lupin, these are all seeing some red ticks, as is Interglobe Aviation after its intent made public to raise funds. And then Tata Motors, which is also lingering a little bit in the red. But focus now to Motown, and Hyundai Motor India is on track to ramp up their output. So let's get a better handle of where things are. With this one, Ganesh Mani S, who's the Director of Production at Hyundai Motor India Limited, joins us on the show right now. Ganesh, hi, morning. Tell us a little bit about what sort of production ramp-up do you have in the pipeline, and when is it that you see the third shift kickoff?
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me on the show. For whatever the work what we did in during the period of lockdown, it's really paying off. Once the unlockdown is happening, we started with a humble beginning of 200 vehicles per day in the month of May 8th, and now we clocked more than 50,000 numbers as of now. It looks market is looking good. The customers are happy. We have more than 49,000 Creta booking for us. So it's a time to really ramp up the production, and we keep going. So currently, we have done close to around 60% of our production, capacities. We are quickly ramping up to the level of 80%, and soon we'll go to the 90% of pre-COVID figure. That's what looks very promising, and we are on to it. Thank you.
Sure. What about the labor situation then at your plants? Is the old labor coming back, or is there fresh hiring that you've had to undertake?
Well, as you said, as far as the guest laborers are concerned, the migrant laborers, Hyundai has always been not depending on directly on these people. These are all based on the tier 3 and tier 4 vendors. And the kind of act which I specifically talked about during the period of lockdown, the way we took care of it, most of the people retained here, and they were able to resume back. And also we were able to give a lot of export volumes to our vendors. So the production was always on. So that also added a whole lot of advantages to us. So we don't have any as such, the problem related to that. But of course, going back to the volumes of the third shift, we are in the hiring mode, and we have already declared that 1,800 fresh recruitments have already come, and they are in the pipeline, and we are going to go up in that front as well.
Ganesh, hi there. Morning. I assume that at a time like this, there would be a lot of supply chain bottlenecks, a lot of production glitches as well at a time like this. Have all of these bottlenecks now been ironed out? Are there still supply chain constraints that you're facing?
Well, I always say it in 2-3 phases. So the moment Unlock 1.0 has started, we had to really have additional matrices of the vendors on green, red, orange zones as well. That were initial amount of certain difficulties, wherein we had to really proactively work with them, shift them to certain new locations where things are okay there, and then from there onwards to build upon. So as a company, as a global manufacturing setup, we always have an all-part geographical backup as one area where we keep working on that. So as far as the international markets are concerned, we were able to take care quite well in advance. As far as local is concerned, we talked to vendors, we made sure that all the pipelines are absolutely full. And we have currently, as of now, absolutely no issues at all whatsoever.
Okay, so let's understand now Unlock 1.0 and what the situation is going in about 4 to 5 months into the lockdown. What is the demand picture looking like at the current juncture? Has there been an improvement over the past few weeks or month or so?
Yeah. When we started back in the month of May, we start off in a very humble beginning, I would always say. But having said that, in the last 2 months, the kind of, interest overall automotive market is seeing, and also especially to our products on all new products, as well as the existing products, the demands and the customers are really coming up. Coming back to our dealer workshop, 97% of our dealer workshops are dealers, partners are already open. And we are seeing a very, very good, kind of a demand which are happening till at least a season. I hope this continues till the festival season, and later on we can always see that. So if you see the first half of the year, close to around 30% of the year has gone due to the lockdown, and the second half of the year we believe we can always catch up to those kind of a demands which have come in. And that's what I believe we are able to ramp up from the figure of less than 5% in the month of May. We moved on to 30%, then 50%, 60%, and then at the end of this month, we'll be definitely going to the level of 80% of our volume. And hopefully by next month, we can always go back to the full volume of what pre-COVID period is all about.
Sure. Any trends that you're evolving as well for the future, that which will help in terms of the manufacturing process, overall productivity? If you could, share that with us, in terms of what you're planning for the future.
Okay. COVID has given a real kind of a new learning for all of us. To say that, every setback is a setback for comeback, as said by Willie Jolly. So we actually started off in this manner in a very different way. So it actually has given a lot of, possibilities of new innovations. So I always say that at the beginning of the shift, or when you enter into the factory or any places, you're always checked with the ultrasonic gun. We call it as an innovation at gunpoint, to temperature checking, but it also reminds us kind of innovation at gunpoint. That's what we have been calling it as. So it's given us a very important impetus for flexibility 2.0, which we call it as, to convert into any kind of models and any kind of volumes. We should be able to do that. So we expected a demand of, a certain level to our trader, but the customer response was so good that we had to really change the entire line setup to really convert that into supply chain. And also, not only that model, rest of all the other models also have suddenly picked up. So we had to really move on that. Second point, which really had the kind of a smart shift which has happened. In the futuristic perspective, if you see, the smart shift in terms of three areas which we are working at, in terms of automation, in terms of process, and also in terms of people. So when you say that the smart shift in terms of automation would come in terms of, how a social distancing gets converted into smart distancing, I think that's one of the areas we have been constantly working on. And also, as a part of a process, how we can actually convert many of the processes lined up in our future models, how we can actually do offline meetings, and also doing a digital processing in terms of, not one-to-one kind of connect of meetings, so that we can increase or better the product which are coming up into the manufacturing. And also we call it as a zero-touch manufacturing. I think that's new thing which is getting evolved as to how many places the person has to come in contact with other individual, or for that matter, the vehicle itself. So you know that it is a congregation of more than tens of thousands of people. So zero-touch manufacturing is a new, complete, different area where we are working on. And most importantly, the smart shift in terms of the people thinking to convert them into a startup mindset and entrepreneurial mindset to really get converged into the best product which we can always give it in the future coming products. So these are all the areas where we have been working very closely along with many of those other ideas. And also it gives a huge opportunity for Industry 4.0, which expediting the implementation of it. So a lot of people say that this will take a backseat, but for us, it has given a huge amount of opportunity to take it to the next level. So be it in terms of deep learning, for example, our projects on deep learning works on checking whether the people are wearing masks, are they maintaining a social distancing at the time of implementation, which we never thought about. And also using the artificial intelligence and virtual reality for training of new people. So our 2,500 people are getting trained in virtual reality training rooms, wherein they don't have to be together to really keep learning. So we can always teach them a separate virtual environment overall perspective. So it's a whole lot of new advantages to us, and we like to keep going and taking an advantage of this in our future as well as the existing product itself.
Right.
And of course, the same
Mr.
thing.
Mani, I just want to get one final comment from you on the Atmanirbhar mission and how you see Hyundai's role in that as well. Given the push that we're seeing right now on this, what more you feel you'll look at when it comes to exports, when it comes to local sourcing, and any obstacles as well in this mission towards self-reliance.
Yes. As a global responsible Indian company, our aim is always to build a resilient localized supply ecosystem. And if you see any of our models 5 years down below and now, you would find that our localization percentage is consistently going up to keep, in tandem with what our Prime Minister said about Atmanirbhar Abhiyan. So in that context, we would like to expand and expedite the implementation of all these points in a much more better way, and to working on, as I said, from an all-part geographical backup, local manufacturing setup on various aspects. So currently, close to 10 to 15% of our supplies, not exactly our products, which is in the tier 2, tier 3 vendors, are depending on outside India. We have a complete 2 years roadmap plan as to how we are going to convert all these things into a localized manufacturing setup. And with the finance minister announcement of financial stimulus package, especially for MSME, we are working very closely with our tier 2 and tier 3 vendors, especially through the tier 1. We like to convert this into a converging point so that the Indian customers get the maximum value, but also the best product possible, keeping Atmanirbhar Abhiyan to convert into a great success in this country.
Mr. Mani, pleasure having you on the show today and getting the perspective from you and where your company is headed in the near term. Good speaking with you as always.
Thank you so much.
As we wind